My name is Captain Stu Scheer. I've been in the charter business going on my 40th year. I probably run about 8,000 to 10,000 trips, primarily for finfish. And I just had a couple questions and concerns myself about this, and I'm going to kind of back up what some of the previous speakers said. I brought some notes here so I wouldn't lose my train of thought. But I thought the Wildlife and Fisheries was in the business of protecting the resource and not really involved in socio-economic issues. And you have to ask yourself this question: do we really want people out there fishing for speckled trout, primarily these finfish, doing more damage and harm to the resource when we really don't know? There's not a scientist, there's not a biologist, there's not a sports writer in this room that can tell me they know what the long-term effects are. We don't know whether it's destroyed the larvae. We don't know whether it's destroyed this year's spawn. We don't know, and nobody knows. So why take a chance? Why take a chance of going out there and harming the resource when we really don't know the long-term result? The other thing is, what about the safety issues? And that was brought up somewhat here today. In my particular area down there in Cokesbury, you got hundreds of boats operating. You got skimmers out there, you got booms that are moving from day to different places, and it presents such a safety hazard. You got sportsmen running all over the place. The wildlife people, the enforcement agents, the parish water patrols, and all the other people, they got enough on their hands without, adding this kind of burden to them. And then what about the damage? This is another issue that no one really has brought up here today, but I'm going to bring it up. What about the damage to the trout themselves, the individual fish? Most of the people in our area that fish for trout use live bait. So whenever you catch a trout with a live bait, most of the time it's going to be gut hooked and you're damaging that fish, throw that fish back and it's going to die. So at a time when we got wildlife people all over the country here trying to save pelicans and birds, and we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars doing that, and we're telling sport fishermen, go out there and catch the fish and kill them. It just doesn't make sense to me. But bottom line here, if the commission has already made up their mind about this catch and release, let me just throw a couple other ideas your way that maybe hadn't been brought up. If we're going to have a catch and release in these areas, what about the possibility in these zones of barbless hooks, fishing with artificial bait only, and then anyone caught with a fish in their possession in a closed area loses their fishing privileges for 1 year. Something along those lines. The other thing that I wanted to say was there's been some issue here, and some people have brought up the fact of the BP claims. Well, the BP claims, is on an individual basis, and each area and each individual has their own particular case. And this open or closure is really not going to affect these claims. And also, as far as the charter business, opening these areas for catch and release is not going to help us one iota in the charter industry. The parish president of Terrebonne Parish, Michelle Claudet, made a statement the other day, and I'm going to use his quote. He said that Terrebonne Parish is a catch and eat parish, not a catch and release parish. And we got people that come here from all over the country, come down here and fish, and they come to Louisiana for one reason. Like Mike said, this is the greatest fishing area in the country. We have the most liberal limits, and people come down that road on 56 in Cokesbury for one reason. They come to catch fish and bring them home with us. About 99% of my customers are coming to spend that kind of money to catch the fish and take them back home with them. And the catch and release is not going to work down here in Louisiana as far as our industry is concerned. If you want to catch and release, you go to places like Idaho and Vermont and those places where they allow you one fish a week and you can't keep them. So I'm really perplexed that the Wildlife and Fisheries has made this decision to keep these areas open for catch and release. I think it's going to be an enforcement nightmare. We all know that the majority of the fishermen, I can't see them going out there and catching trout and not keeping them. And I think it's just going to add a burden to the enforcement people and everybody else involved. So I don't know what the power of the commission is, but I would like to see them, really study this thing and look at it again closely and maybe reconsider this issue. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.